Howdy folks, welcome back to KSP Ironlocke. It's been a hot minute, but here we are. 2 weeks after releasing the previous episode, my computer went on a full meltdown, and after losing about 4 episodes worth of recorded content and nearly 1 million funds, it took me a little bit to get myself back together. This is, why we're supposed to make backups, I think. Anyways, the youngest save file I had was about 100 days past where we left off, but I did some editing magic to tidy things up and try and keep the run seamless. Fortunately, I don't think our Kerbals will notice anything. Let's get started. Last episode, we went from rolling around with no method of spaceflight propulsion available aside from the Flea solid fuel booster to regularly performing launches with liquid-fueled rocket engines and eventually placing several crafts and a Kerbal into low Kerban orbit. It is time to expand upon that success. For this episode, I have 2 goals I'm beginning to work towards. One is gathering the 45 or 90 science to get our next research unlock, and 2 is beginning the long grind for 750,000 funds for reasons. After the great success and excitement of the previous sessions, we are once again broke. So for the time being, we're forced to do more basic contracts, meaning we must say goodbye to the Terrier. For now. Yikes. Looks like I'm a little rough around the edges after a year. I'll have to be real careful going forward. Back to it. We're gonna start off with some groundwork and maybe get our fun situation in a better place. Right, well, that was painful. But we're up to 31k funds. Ooh, funds. Yoink. And yoink. Those science data contracts are nice and easy, and they'll eventually become a way to keep from soft-locking myself in the future. But I don't need solar panels to really be able to do that later on down the line. Speaking of down the line, let's look at my research options. A little earlier I mentioned getting 45 or 90 science points. For 45 science, I can unlock advanced rocketry, granting permanent access to the Terrier and the FLT-400 fuel tanks. However, more importantly, granting temporary access to the Spark and Ant liquid fuel engines, 2 of the most efficient engines I'm going to have for a very long time. Alternatively, by saving for 90 science, I can unlock basic solar panels, as well as the Probodobodine Octo, a more advanced probe core with tons of utility. I'm probably going to go for the 45, since without it we're always going to be short a contract slot. Well, no more good contracts. I don't want to ruin my reputation gains, so back to waiting, I guess. Well, more groundwork. I scooped up this EVA contract I'd never seen before, and walked about 20 feet before realizing I definitely didn't want to walk the whole way on foot. I then realized in my haste that I'd failed to complete all the objectives, and rolled back. I rolled to 2 dud locations and then ran out of battery and got out to walk. Jeb was forced to walk the remaining several kilometers on foot. Yikes, that took a little bit. Well done, Jeb. Lesson learned. Without proper wheels, I am never taking that kind of contract again. Nice, up to 66k. Gotta be careful with some of these. Despite being the type of contract that's great for cash and reputation, it's located on the other side of the planet. I don't want to set myself back that hard. And just like that, it's day 100. I guess time flies when you're waiting for contracts to do. Alongside shooting for the 45 science I need, I'm going to make it my mission going forward to upgrade the astronaut complex. While saving up for the lesser 500,000 funds in order to upgrade the launch pad would certainly be helpful, without EVA I'm missing out on so much more, and I can make these lightweight rockets work for a long time. Ah, there we are. We've got the Terrier again, and our funds are in a better place, so let's do some space stuff. I really want to get that Mun exploration contract out of the way, so we're going to do this in 2 parts. Firstly, I'm building a relay satellite, which I'll place 2 of in high Kerban orbit in order to keep from experiencing blackouts on the Mun. After that, I'll think about building the Munshot vehicle. Alrighty, probe built. Let's fly. One down, 1 to go. I went ahead and shifted this thing to be in a 500 kilometer orbit of Kerban. The offset in altitude between the 2 probes will probably create some blackout windows closer to the atmosphere, but I'm not going to worry about that too much. It shouldn't be an issue, I don't think. And done. Looks like these things have a nice surplus of Delta V in orbit. I might just modify them for the Munshot. Looking at the contract again, all I have to do is perform a flyby, gather science, and return to Kerban. A transfer from low Kerban orbit to the Mun's sphere of influence needs about 960 meters per second of Delta V. My previous 2 relay satellites had nearly double that. Alright, Munshot time. Let's re-engineer this relay into a probe and slap some equipment on to help it survive re-entry. Real bad habit of cutting out a blade of material to cut costs and weight. Hopefully it doesn't come back to bite me. Looking at my ComNet lines, looks like downgrading to the weaker Communitron 16s was a mistake. Well, nuts. I'll leave this thing in orbit, but I'm gonna have to send up a different vessel now. I also forgot a thermometer, so I threw a new one on this time. Lunar encounter achieved. Nice. Let's grab this science and head home. ComNet loss. Of course. I put up 2 relays, and of course I lose ComNet in the one overlap they have. Amazing. Most frustrating of all was that the probe actually survived re-entry. If I'd simply bothered to activate the parachute in orbit, I could have recovered it. Hilariously enough, the mission wasn't a complete failure, as apparently slamming into the ocean at 180 meters per second counts as returning to Kerban. Let's finish this. I'll throw up one more relay, and this time just park it in lunar orbit, just sending back the data that's needed. Since this one's not coming back, I cut off some of the dead weight and added extra batteries. Bam! Contract complete. Thank heavens. Looks like we even recuperated most of the cost of that whole fiasco. Nice. Moving forward, I should be able to get more contracts to operate in lunar orbit, which should give better funds than the ones for LKO. As interesting a prospect as it is, I don't know that I'm quite ready to tackle the Mun's surface yet. Alright, I'm gonna do a little more groundwork here, but I should go ahead and make this note. I'm not doing groundwork because I want to, it just happens to be the fastest way forward right now. While it certainly would be possible to upgrade all buildings in the KSC to their max tier by doing nothing but groundwork, it would be incredibly dull, and also much slower than some of the other methods of obtaining funds that will become available as we progress further down the line. And these part test contracts on the service are really just to reroll for better contracts instead of waiting for them to time out. With no new contracts and having burned 20 days or so, I decided to kickstart the process for my next major milestone, a proper Mun landing. I'll modify my relay satellites with some landing legs and additional modifications. This should prove sufficient for what we're doing. Landing on the Mun requires an additional 860 Delta V on top of the transfer maneuver's 860, but hopefully I should have enough in the end. Well, that was hilariously bad. I cheaped out and removed a couple of lower fins to save on the parts count, and it really came back to bite me. At least I got another Kerban probe, I suppose, so not a total loss. Take 2.
Oh my god, we're...
Alright, take 3. Alright, successful orbit. I decided not to skim the atmosphere this time, and also waited for my relays to be in position just in case. There we go. Looks like everything's in order. I'm gonna hold off on the final landing contract until the Mun's in position for us to get a daytime landing. And I think I'm gonna call it here. Next time I'll focus on science to get our next set of parts in the bag. This episode's been a little short, but it's been fun getting the ball rolling again. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. This has been Ironlocke, signing off. Bon.